Great power competition is accelerating in the coldest place on Earth. The Arctic and Antarctic, once seen as remote scientific frontiers, as we know very well, are now transforming into arenas where security, sovereignty, and strategic advantage matter more than anything else. The Arctic has shifted from a remote, low-tension region to a zone of accelerating strategic rivalry between the United States and Russia. While the competition is still far from open conflict, geopolitical, military, economic, and environmental dynamics are definitely intensifying. This is a fascinating topic that I will definitely write more about over on my Substack and my Patreon, so please make sure that you are subscribed there too to stay updated. As you may know, for decades, these regions were framed around climate change, around environmental protection, and the rise of indigenous communities. These themes have not really fully disappeared, but they are no longer at the very center of the global conversation. Today, the polar regions are being reshaped by a new geopolitical logic. Who controls energy, who controls critical resources, who controls choke points, and ultimately, who controls the future. The areas of direct competition between Russia and the United States include, first and foremost, military posturing. Both sides frequently operate submarines and strategic bombers close to each other's territory. Cold War-style intercepts, we've had several of those recently, are actually rising again. The second area of competition is related to logistics. Russia views the Northern Sea route as key to its national interests. And in addition to that, there are vast Arctic seabed resources and minerals that many powers want to get their hands on. In the Arctic, the shift to a great power competition is impossible to ignore. The Arctic Council was once dominated by collaborative environmental agendas, but lately its discussions have been grounded in national security, in strategic waterways, and competition for mineral and energy reserves. Climate concerns are still acknowledged somewhat, but only within the more pragmatic context of sovereignty, economic interest, and strategic risk. Russia remains the most dominant power in the Arctic. This is because Russia views the Arctic as a core national interest area, militarily, economically, and of course ideologically. President Vladimir Putin consistently frames the Arctic as a vital national project. Russia maintains the largest military infrastructure of any Arctic state. It includes more than 50 Arctic military bases modernized or reopened since 2014, as well as radar systems, anti-air and anti-ship missiles, and airfields across the Northern Sea route. The Northern Fleet is effectively the centerpiece of Russian nuclear second strike capability. China's economic rise is the driving force behind the country's emerging interest in the Arctic. Beijing is now seen by most observers as the primary geopolitical challenger in both polar regions, but its ambitions actually differ between the two poles. In the Arctic, China is very deliberate and strategic. It points to being a near-Arctic state, as it claims. Its interests are very clear too. They include access to Russia's northern corridor, stable supply chains of natural resources, of course, possible future claims to seabed minerals, and long-term access to fisheries and rare earth. China invests, it builds facilities, it deploys scientific missions, and it therefore expands its influence wherever possible, which helps it, of course, expand its foothold in the region. But Russia appears to see China as a partner rather than a rival, and it sees China as a partner that strengthens its Arctic ambitions. And their cooperation is increasingly viewed by Western governments as a single, merged challenge that's now driving the militarization of the region. The West is now increasingly focusing on the Arctic as the new front against Russia and China. For example, Canada has been rethinking its strategic posture in the Arctic. In August, the Canadian government lifted restrictions on participating in U.S. regional missile defense systems and entered negotiations to join the Golden Dome, which would potentially become a multi-layer defense shield across the northern frontier. Canada has also joined the Ice Pact, which is a trilateral partnership with the United States and Finland to pool expertise and resources for building new icebreakers. And in 2024, Canada actually published a new and more assertive or aggressive, depending on how you look at it, Arctic foreign policy. In addition to that, it also announced increases in military spending, including nearly $500 million that are designated for Arctic initiatives. The United States is also actively expanding its footprint in the region. Despite disagreements with Canada on trade and water management and many other different things, Washington and Ottawa are actually aligning on Arctic infrastructure, on maritime domain awareness, and on military buildup. The United States has announced major investments in new Arctic ports, including a deep water facility in Nome, in Alaska, and has fast-tracked the development of Arctic-capable vessels. Responsibility for America's Arctic shipbuilding has shifted from the National Security Council to the Office of Management and Budget, which is regarded as a sign that policymakers want to accelerate progress and to bring significant resources to the table. Washington's own research priorities are changing too. The U.S. Arctic Research Commission now defines national security in the region through 4 pillars: military strength, community resilience, energy development, and economic prosperity. So across the Nordic region too, Finland has positioned itself as one of the most proactive partners, I should say, pushing deeper cooperation with the United States and with Canada. Sweden and Norway are also expanding their own Arctic military strategies, and Denmark, because of its ties to Greenland, of course, is increasing its military spending to meet Trump's requirements. Looking ahead, the most likely scenario is a dramatic expansion of Arctic cooperation among Western nations as a way to counter Russia and to counter China. And so due to this, it is likely that the United States may push for clearer guarantees on Greenland's political direction. Washington may not require direct sovereignty over the island, but it will almost certainly insist that Greenland never fall under Chinese influence. So let me know what you think about this new frontier, something that we don't really hear much about, but it is extremely, extremely important. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like a bit more content, check out my Substack and Patreon. You will find them linked below. Make sure that you follow me on Telegram. I absolutely love that platform too. You will find me frequently posting on Telegram throughout a day. All of my platforms are linked in the description below. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you back here tomorrow. Take care.